Hi everyone, welcome to a new video, or welcome back if you've been to this channel before. My name is Lady Knight, and today I want to show you some of the decks in my collection. And I've decided to make some videos about my decks, but I'm going to group them into categories so that the videos are not going to be extremely long. And the first category that I want to talk about is my German decks. And what I mean by that is all the decks that I have that were created by German artists, German creators, or that have been exclusively produced for the German market, like this one. And yeah, so that's what I have today. I have 11 decks with me. And let's just get right into it. So the first one that you see here is my Sailor Moon Tarot. And this was also the very first deck that I ever had. It's a Major Arcana only deck. And this one I bought in August 1999. So here's the date. So 1999, that's when I got this. Back then this whole thing was like $7.90 Deutschmarks still. And I got this at my favorite magazine shop, and I just saw this there, and without even hesitating, I saw Sailor Moon Tarot, done, bought it. Didn't even have to think about it. So what this is the guidebook, so to speak, and it came with this poster that is extremely large when I unfold it. So it unfolds one more. And it has two spreads on here. And this is also how I learned to do the Celtic Cross and the other spread that's in here. Let's just put this here in the back. And the story of this deck is that basically Ray, she is also a priestess in a temple. And so she created this deck for this magazine here. And she's now teaching us how to use it. Like, she talks about the language of the tarot, and then each card gets just a small paragraph and like a motto for it, and that is pretty much it. So it doesn't go into any like symbolism or really like RWS tradition or anything else. It really just like a short paragraph. That's it. And that's all I needed back then. And I have to say, whoever put this deck together really did their homework. It's also Thoth inspired, because for number 8 we have Justice, and for number 11 we have Strength, and number 14 is labeled Art and not Temperance. But yeah, whoever put this deck together really knew their stuff when it comes to tarot, because so far out of all the Sailor Moon decks I've ever seen, and I know there's a lot of illegal fan art decks out there because they're not officially licensed, that's copyright infringement. But even then, I do not agree with the characters that were chosen for some of the cards, but this one here, amazing, and that's why I still use it to this day. And if you think that this is some nice kitty kind of tarot deck, like these are the cards, I have like predicted 2 deaths with this deck. One was my grandma, and the other one was someone that one of my family members knew. And there was a situation going on with multiple people involved. And I did this one reading that's in here, and the cards said, I would have to look up which one it actually was, that the person in charge would make a final decision. At that time, I didn't really understand what that meant, but not too long after, the person actually did make the final decision and left this earth. And yeah, so this deck knows what it's talking about, and I will never part with this deck at all, because yeah, it's good, even though it is just a Major Arcana deck. But I really love it, and it says what's up. Like, it talks to me, and I appreciate it very much. what is also here, like this is how I learned to do the Celtic cross, and I still to this day use this way of setting up the cross with like 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is the goal, the foundation, past and future. And then I changed this one a little bit because here it says general influence. I changed this to like outside influences. And yeah, my feelings, I changed that one to like hopes and dreams and fears. But basically, I'm still working with this Celtic cross to this day, almost 26 years later. And so we also get a practice reading in this book. And then she also asked Ami if she could also design a spread for this. And that's the spread that I actually used for that final decision reading. And yeah, it's a very nice spread. I like it a lot. We also get an explanation to it and a practice reading. And then there is another spread, basically just labeled a cross. So what is it all about? What is not going to happen? What will happen next? And the outcome. Very simple, very straightforward. Another practice reading, and then it talks about the daily draws and how to do that. And that is basically it. So this is how I learned to read the tarot before I ever got my first 78 card deck. This one is an oracle deck, and it's called the Wilhelm Busch Oracle. It was published by Königsfurt Urania. And what year is this from? It's not that old. Wilhelm Busch, he is a famous, or was, I don't think, no, he's not alive anymore. But he's a very famous writer and author. So 2012, that's when this is from. And he illustrated lots of stories, and they can be a bit triggering, but then again, for us Germans, we can deal with that. We don't really mind these things. So just be warned. And yeah, he illustrated them. He wrote the stories. There's more illustrations for some stories than there's actual text. And yeah, they can be a bit brutal. And I read those stories in like kindergarten and elementary school. Max and Moritz is the most famous one. I knew that one by heart. And so yeah, like I said, this raven here, he was quite mischievous. So he stole the dog food, he made the dog lose his tail and all that stuff, and then he was drinking the wine, and then he tripped and fell, and yeah, so karma. So there's a lot of these illustrations here, and I absolutely love this. This is Wilhelm Busch. That's a drawing that he did of himself. And in the guidebook, we get like a little bit of information about the story and how this relates to the oracle card and, you know, the lesson that we can learn from that. And yeah, it's a nice little thing. Probably not for every culture, because yeah, the things, like the stereotypical things that they say about us Germans, they are in essence true. So yeah, that is something to keep in mind with this deck. But yeah, for myself, I absolutely enjoy this deck. It's like a fun, cute little thing. And since I read these stories as a kid, this always brings me back to like fun childhood memories. The Cosmic Tarot, this one, I bought the book first. This one is sold separately. It doesn't come in a set. And the artist here is Norbert Lösche. He's the one who illustrated this. And so that's why I put this in the category of German decks, even though the author of this book is not German. But yeah, so I bought the book first to see if I would even like the deck. But then as soon as I had the book and I looked into it, I was like, yeah, I want this deck. And yeah, there's some good information here about this deck. And also at the end of this book, somewhat, there is actually a list of people in the cards that are supposed to be like Hollywood famous. But here we see Prince of Wands, Tom Cruise. I don't know in what universe that is considered to be Tom Cruise. I'm sorry, I don't see it. Not at all. There are some other figures, like unintentionally, they remind me of someone. Like there is, for example, this dancer here. There's actually a real life dancer that I know personally who looks exactly like that, who has like almost the exact same haircut and everything. And he's also one of my favorite dancers. So that's kind of funny. So yeah, these are the cards. And I love the artwork. It's really vibrant and so colorful. And yeah, I love this comic book style kind of artwork. I'm guessing this is like Casablanca or something, Humphrey Bogart and whoever the woman was. And then this reminds me of John Travolta, like a very sad John Travolta kind of thing. And then there's one card here. Let me see. This reminds me of Varys from Game of Thrones. This is Varys, even though that show didn't exist when this deck was published. But yeah, that's my Varys card. So these are the decks. And then there's also something interesting here that is with some of the cards. Let me see. So these two cards, for example, they are not explicitly like tied together in the books. I'm not quite sure why it was done that way. So we have the Six of Swords and the Four of Wands, and we see that, you know, the position of the body is exactly the same. It's just the circle here is in different places, but they both have the pyramids there. And that is a very interesting thing in this deck. But also there are some cards that are linked together. For example, we have let me just put this down, the Six of Cups and the Seven of Cups, where the Six of Cups card up there is referenced again. And in the book, it says, where is it? The central image echoes the Six of Cups. A nightmare comes forth from the dream. Love has been unrequited or rejected, and the memory of past hopes is agony. So I like that they tied something together here, and there is another one. So we have, oops, no, I don't want to lose the page. We have the Lovers card, and then in the Queen of Swords, you can see the Lovers there again, which is not necessarily a combination that I would have made, but let's see what the book says about this. It says, the lovers in the background reflect the Queen's role as a messenger, a medium that makes relationships possible. She may not be interested in maintaining a long-term relationship herself, but she loves matchmaking. She can be a delightful ally in romantic intrigue. She may be a busybody. The Lovers can also be an image of happy days gone by. Sometimes the Queen of Swords signifies a person in mourning. So yeah, and then it just goes on. But I like that there is this kind of reference in this deck, that it plays with these kinds of things, which is something that I also love about My Haunted House Tarot by Sasha Graham, because she also has like an entire story going through the deck, and some characters appear in multiple cards, which I think is pretty cool. So this is the Roni Tarot by Ronit Hartmann, also in some cases known as Ronit Wolf. And this is another Major Arcana Tarot. And I've been keeping this still in the plastic here because this kind of cardstock, and also this from the guidebook here, is the kind of material that if you press down too hard, the fingerprints stay. And so it came with this like large poster here that is basically like this here. So it has like the alpha, beta, gamma, and delta thing. So that's the thing that plays into how to read this. And when you look at this, this does look early 2000s. Let's see what year this is from. 2006. So that's the Arun Verlag. So that's the publisher where this is from. And yeah, so this looks, yeah, early 2000s. And it does give a bit of a description about every card, and then positive aspects, negative aspects, and some thoughts about each and every card in here. And then it gives, yeah, it talks about this whole, like, the alpha, beta, whatever kind of thing that she did. If you want me to do a deep dive into any of these decks, let me know in the comments. So these are the cards. This is the back. It just features the name and, you know, some abstract artwork. And yeah, I don't read with it much because it's not available anymore. It's out of print, but at least on the German market and also in Switzerland, you can still get this online, and some of these for even less than $5. In some cases, the shipping is more expensive than the deck. So this is not a deck that's very asked for. I mean, I don't know why, because the artwork is actually very intriguing. It's something very different. I don't have any other deck in my collection that resembles anything like this. So yeah, we even have like different age groups and ethnicities in here. So yeah, it is a very interesting deck. And yeah, like I said, I just don't read with it much because, yeah, I'm kind of protecting it. It's more like part of my collection and more like a collector's piece. So that's why I don't use it much, but I like it. And it starts growing on me. A couple years ago, I was thinking of rehoming it, but I think I'm going to keep it. I think I'm going to hold on to it. Maybe at some time in the future, some point, I might start reading with this. Who knows? This is a deck that is created by a creator who's not originally German, but this deck was created while she lived in Germany, and I think she still does, maybe in Hamburg, if I'm not mistaken. Heather Hopes, or Herbs, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the name. This is the Inner Compass Oracle, and it's available on Etsy. And if I find any of these listings of these decks, I will put them in the description box in case you're interested in any of them and you want to check them out for yourself. So this is a nice pocket-sized Oracle deck. Comes in this cute box, and it has like a bookmark thing in here. So this is the information of the creator, if you're interested. And she also posts on social media, and she does other kinds of artwork as well. So please check that out. And this is a collage deck, and I love collage work. I bought this specifically as an Oracle deck to go with my Stretch Tarot. And I think those two complement each other very well because they have the same kind of collage style. They also both have keywords on it. I do like working with keywords because sometimes I have those days when I'm looking at a card and nothing. So a keyword to get me started does help. And I also like that this is very colorful. This is very, you know, happy, friendly, and yeah, like these cards. I've gotten some good readings with this deck for myself, and yeah. I've also incorporated it into my past life readings when I use my Stretch Tarot, and yeah, I can really recommend this one. It's nice and small for on the go. It doesn't take up much room, and definitely pretty. It's not a typical tarot deck, even though it is called the Astro Tarot, and this is one that was only printed in Germany. I have never seen this anywhere else. And I came across this on like eBay classifieds kind of thing. So someone was selling this along with an RWS, but I only went with this one. And the book I bought extra later on. So this is from the Südwest Verlag. That's the publisher. And this was made, so first of all, Hermine Marie Zehe and Rita Mühlbauer are the artists of this deck. And it was made, let's see, in 2005. So those are the numbers there if anyone wants to check it out. And this follows its very own system, and it takes a while to really get into it. I still haven't really worked with it, but since like this year I'm learning about the Deck and Walk for the first time, so that like this year I'm writing down all the information, and next year I want to do the Deck and Walk, and then I don't want to worry about, you know, gathering the information as I go. I want to have all of that written down first, and then I can just, you know, look into the energies of each deck and as they happen. So yeah, like this is its very own system here, and it's all explained, and it has like all of these combinations basically. So each sign with their assigned planet. So here we have Cancer Moon, and then in combination with Leo and Sun, Cancer Moon with Virgo and Mercury, Cancer Moon with Libra and Venus, and so on. And that's for all the combinations. And it also shows the 12 zodiac signs. So it's Western astrology. Bummer, but you know. So yeah, the first cards are all the signs, the zodiac signs. And then after that, it goes into these combinations here. And I have to say, from what I looked into so far, these images have been chosen very well. But since there is a lot going on and this is its own system, in a way, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing on these cards, because there's no way I'm going to remember an entire system. And so I'm just going to write on these. If I'm going to write on the front or back, I'm not quite sure yet. Oh, by the way, these are the backs. So we get the constellations. And yeah, it's like it's a bit heavy, shuffled somewhat, but it's quite big for my fingers. So I'll have to see how I can actually work with this. If I'm just gonna, you know, choose the cards based on whatever energy is going on, or if I'm actually gonna use this as like an oracle deck, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I've had this in my collection for quite some time, but I never really did anything with it. So yeah, for the Deck and Walk, I think it's definitely gonna be an interesting addition to look into. So this is the Astro Tarot. I also have a copy of the Ananda Tarot. This one has been issued, what's the year? I think it was like 2001, 2003? Let me check. So there's a really nice big chunky guidebook, and I love that. So first edition, 2001. And this has been printed and sold in English as well, but getting an English copy of this is very much out of print, is very difficult. Finding a German one, not that difficult. When I got mine, I got it from someone who's also selling a lot of, like Kurt Pilz, he's the artist of this. And that person was also selling a lot of his artwork on eBay. And when I got this, first of all, I got it for like very cheap. I think I paid like $39 or so for this, and it was still sealed. It had never been opened, so it was still brand new when I got this after all these years, and I've only had this for a couple of years now. But yeah, so the guidebook does have a lot of information. Like for the majors, we get black and white picture, and then we get some interpretation. And then even astrological things are included, and like keywords and traditional meanings and all that stuff. And for the minors, yeah, we also have a full-size picture and also interpretations, but then it's a little bit shorter. But still, I mean, almost 2 pages for each card. That is pretty nice. It also has a few spreads here in the back. And I really love the artwork. I recently found a copy of his I Ching deck. I haven't received it yet. I hope I will receive it soon, and that I wasn't duped or anything. Because his artwork, like, I ordered it for the artwork and I got it for almost the original price as well. So that's good. And I hope I will get it soon. So that would have been included in here today as well, but you know. So yeah, I love like the softness of these images. And even though the minors are very pippish, like, you know, there's just like a bunch of swords, bunch of glasses, whatever. But still, like, there's just so much in this artwork. Additional, like, it's not just the 10 swords, but there's also like other stuff going on. And yeah, I just love the artwork. At some point, I thought about maybe trimming it down to the black border here, but I couldn't bring myself to do it since this is my only copy and it is very hard to get these times. If I had a second version of it, then I probably would trim that just to see how that reads, but I don't want to risk it with this one. But yeah, so the few readings that I've done with this deck have all been very insightful. And I really like it, but yeah, I'm kind of protective of this since it is out of print. Here we have Jim Morrison. And so I don't use it very much, but when I take it out, it is always a pleasure. These are the backs. And yeah, it came in this like VHS kind of box, like they did back in the days. Come on, open up. And then it says a little bit about the artist here. So yeah, Ananda Kurt Pilz, he was born in 1955 in Germany. And yeah, the I Ching, that's the other deck that he has out. And yeah, both of them are out of print, which is a shame because, yeah, like I said, the artwork is extremely beautiful. Now, another one that's also out of print and another major arcana deck is the Ansata Tarot. And with this one, it kind of went a different way because the book came first in 1981, and then in 1985, the deck was created. Because what happened here is that they made this book about astrology and tarot, and they included the artwork, like full-size page. You can see my hand in comparison. This is pretty big. And then years later, they decided, hey, just let's turn this into a deck. So there's a lot of, you know, astrological information in regards to the tarot cards. It really goes into the symbolism of each card. And while the deck itself is available in English as well, also extremely hard to find. The German one, not so much. I've seen it a few times on eBay in Germany. But the book itself, since it was also only ever published in German, an English copy of this doesn't exist. Yeah, I found this book, and I think I only paid like $5 or something for this book when I found it. But yeah, it's a bit difficult to find. And also, and I can show you this in the cards, this, even though it is like astrology and tarot together, comes with a little guidebook here. But the astrological correspondences do not match the Golden Dawn correspondences. So, and this is my favorite tower card of all the decks that I have because of that woman. Like, she's jumping out of the tower, facing the situation. She's not surprised by it. Like, she's actively choosing the change, and I love that. And yeah, as you can see, you have like the meanings here. So some of these are kind of traditional, and some of them are changed. So here we have the moon with the high priestess instead of something else. We have the sun for the magician. We have, yeah, we've got the Leo for strength, but yeah, and Libra for this, and something, where is it? Of course, when you're looking for it, it's not there. We've got Mercury for the lovers, and here it's called the decision. Here, like, this kind of makes sense to me because we've got the Chariot and we've got the Sagittarius, which also matches the thing, like the picture. And so, yeah, the way that they are put together here with the sun, I think this one was the Gemini sign, was it? Which one was it? Yeah, that's the Gemini sign. So here the sun is linked to Gemini, and that's because of the depiction that predates the naked baby on a horse, where you have these two people in the sun card. Also like that we have the entire zodiac here. So yeah, this is a different way of looking at it. And here the moon card has Cancer linked to it. And yeah, like Scorpio still has the death card linked to it. So yeah, and the Emperor has Jupiter instead of Aries. So, or Taurus? Aries. Mars. Oh my God. Yeah, it's been a day. So anyway, like the box is already starting to come apart. So I'm also very, very careful with this deck. I don't take it out much. This is why I'm glad that I have the book, so I can actually just look everything up. And if I want to see the pictures, I have them even larger here, and it helps me to see the details a lot better. And yeah, like this is its own system. Can't really be compared to the other cards. Maybe at some point I might make a comparison video of this deck with the Golden Dawn. And now the word is gone. With like how the Golden Dawn sets up the astrology with the cards, because yeah, these differences, some of these make way more sense to me than the Golden Dawn associations. So maybe I'll make a video about that. I said my Sailor Moon Tarot was actually the first one that I got, but that's only partially true because, let me just take this off. In Europe, we have this teen magazine called Bravo, and this was the edition that came out, and I actually researched this and I found the date. So this was July 13th, 95, when this particular issue came out, and it had a tarot deck in it, Major Arcana only. And these are the artists that they link to it. For example, we have Axl Rose here as the, what is it, the Emperor. We've got the lovers are Gwyneth Paltrow and Brad Pitt because they were together at the time. We've also got Bon Jovi, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, some people from the Kelly family, which were known in Europe. We've got Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. We've got Kevin Costner. And Madonna, she is, who's Madonna? I think she was the High Priestess? No, that was Janet Jackson. So, let's see, yeah, Janet Jackson, she was the Empress. And Madonna, what was Madonna? Oh, she was the Judgment card. Yeah, you can see that's what she looked like back then. And so it just gives like the light and shadow definitions of each card. And the thing is, each of these cards, like there was a celebrity on each. And then down here, very small, there is actually a real tarot card depicted. And it's not named specifically which one that was from, but later on I found out it's actually the Arcus Arcanum Tarot. So in a way, that was kind of my first tarot deck. And I cut out those little images, but I didn't keep them. And so I was lucky enough, even though this is out of print, to get 2 versions of it. And I even trimmed mine. So this was also the first deck I ever trimmed. And even though it's out of print, and I did this before I got the second version of it. And yeah, because I think that this looks just like way better, because the artist who made this deck, his name is Hans-Rudi Wäscher. That's his name, Hans-Rudi Wäscher. And this book, I think I bought this separately. It says this is the 12th issue, the 12th edition, maybe. But yeah, originally this deck is from 1988. And it was published by Urania, printed in Germany. And yeah, so in this book, it gives lots of information about each card and even somewhat detailed about the minor arcana. And there's lots of spreads in here. Like there's even one that utilizes all of the 78 cards, like here. I have never tried that. I wouldn't even know how to fit them all on my desk with such a big tableau. So yeah, there's a lot of spreads in here. And I bought this, I think the first version that I got was this one here in one of those very beat up VHS tape boxes. And this is not actually listed as the Arcus Arcanum. It's called Beruf und Berufung, so calling and career. And it came with this book, and this really puts the deck only into the perspective of career readings. And for that, it is extremely detailed. I mean, just look at that. It's even bigger than the original guidebook in a way. And I have not used this deck much for career readings. Like this is a deck that actually likes to read about love as well. But it does give some good answers in terms of career. But like, yeah, there's so much in here. That would be an entire thing to go through in and of itself. So yeah, and the artists, Hans-Rudi Wäscher, he was actually quite influential in the German comic book scene. So that's why they look very comic book-like. And when I'm reading with this deck, I don't just use the traditional meanings of each card, but I also look at how the people in the picture behave. Like, what do their facial expressions say? Like, here we have different people. Like, for me, this is kind of like a debt collector energy. Like, yeah, they would like to pay their stuff. They don't have a lot. They keep a little bit, but then they come and take what little they have. So that is kind of like a different energy than, for example, the people outside the church in a way. Like it's similar, but different. And even here, like the Two of Pentacles. So she's all like hopeful and everything, but he has a very like deceiving kind of look. I don't know if you can see that really. And like, I wouldn't trust him. I don't know if she's gonna get betrayed by him. Like there's something going on here. So that depends on whatever other cards are in the vicinity. Or like with the Five of Cups, here we have two people turning away from each other. So there's a very different aspect here. We don't have the typical family situation in the Ten of Cups. This is the prospect of, you know, coming together and building something. So yeah, they are very different. And for that, I really enjoy reading with these pictures. And also, I love that the Sun card features the two kids instead of the naked baby on a horse. And yeah, so all of these, like the ways that these cards are depicted, I really like that. And yeah, I did manage to get a second copy, and I left the borders intact. So this is what they look like originally. And then I just cut all that off because I just found it a bit distracting. And this looks way more comic book to me now. But this one also came with like a little white book. Not much info in there. But yeah, and this one also doesn't have a date on it, but I think it's like around the same time that this came out, like 88. So yeah, I've got 2 of these, and I'm very protective of this in case something happens to this. So I'm not touching this. This is actually put away safely. I don't ever take this out because I just really love this, and I couldn't resist when I found this one for very cheap as well. So yeah, that's why I have 2 of these. Now let's take this to the side. Now this next deck here, this is definitely one of my absolute favorites. I am talking about the Röhrig Tarot, and yes, I do have multiple versions of it. And when I ordered this one here, the re-release, I even got this really like very large postcard here that he even, you know, wrote a little message on, and I got his autograph here. I love this. I am going to put this up in this room somewhere because I love his artwork. So, the Röhrig Tarot. Well, let me just get this situated here. So, when I found this deck on YouTube, on TarotTube, that was sometime in, I don't know, 2018, I'm guessing. And then as soon as I found it on Amazon, I bought myself a copy of it. And the one that I got actually looked like this. So this is the original box. And yeah, I have one that's still sealed, and it comes with a book and everything. But now this particular box, which was published by Königsfurt Orania, is out of print. It's gone. You can't get it anymore. So in that box was this guidebook, and the cards were just loose in the box. They didn't have like anything like an extra box or something, so they just, oops, came like this. And they are the large ones, so they're like a little bit more than 16 centimeters or a little over like 6 inches. That's the size of them. And I absolutely love this deck. So that was the first one that I got. And so I made myself a little box for that. I'm just gonna put that to the side for now. And yeah, it came with this book. This one, however, was not written by the artist himself or by someone who worked with him. This is written by Roé and Kirsten Buchholzer. They are members of the German Tarot Association. Tarot Association. And a couple of years ago, I even got mine autographed at the book fair. And in this book, they really do a deep dive into the deck. And like this deck is kind of like a mixture of the RWS, Thoth, and the, I think it was the Heindel Tarot, because we do have these the Hebrew letters and the runes on here, just like the Heindel Tarot is. So that's why it's kind of like a hybrid out of all 3 of them. And in this book, they also talk about the symbolism, which I really like. Let me see where I can find this. So there's a lot of reoccurring themes that show up in the cards, whether it's eyes, mountains, chains, feathers, you know, things like that. And they go into great depth with, you know, looking at everything. And they also have, you know, the comparisons to, let me just find one. Nah, come here. So they do put this in contrast to other cards, other decks. And yeah, they really talk about what they see in the cards, what they read in the cards, how they interpret them. So this is a book that was written by people working with this deck, but a very good one. Sadly, never published in English. I think this should definitely be available in other languages. Then later on, I found other versions of it. This is the Spanish version, which might also be out of print at this point. I got this on Amazon, same as the first deck. And yeah, the box is kind of coming apart. And this one I actually trimmed, but I'm not sure if this is actually really officially licensed. I'm not really sure because the pictures look quite dark, and that usually happens. I don't know, it might be the cardstock, but in some cases this happens because it might be copied off of something else. So with this one, I'm not really sure if this is, because I know that this deck has been released in other languages as well, but yeah, I'm not really sure with like which ones are original real decks and what the counterfeit ones are. That's difficult to tell. I also have the Czech version, which I also found on Amazon. Might also be out of print at this point. And I got that one because it has the gilded edges. So I wanted it because it looked pretty. And yeah, this one, I mean, the cards are kind of bent. I don't really read with this, and also the cards were stuck together so much that on some cards it was ripping off part of the picture, which is a shame. But otherwise, yeah, like the keywords are in Czech, but that doesn't really matter, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. So let me just put this away. In 2020, or at the end of 2019, early 2020, I found out that the artist was coming out with a new edition of his deck, and this is available on his website. So here it says, this way, in 91-92, he created this deck, and this is the website where you can actually get it, and they have this large version in German and English available. Now, I got the English one here because I already have the German one. And this one came without a guidebook in the box, but what I got with it was a guidebook that doesn't really fit this, so I put it in an envelope, so it doesn't fit in the box. But it's just like the basic standard short descriptions of the cards, and this one here has the 2007 copyright. But yeah, this was put in with the thing, and it even lists Roe and Kirsten and the Tarot Association and everything. So yeah, that is very nice. I found this bad boy here somewhere online because since I know that this book here was not written by the creator himself, I wondered if there was a book, because on channels that showed the English version that was published with, I think it was Blue Angel Publishing back then in the 90s, and there was a larger guidebook with it, and I tried to find that one, and I found this, and I think this is the German equivalent of it. This is from the Aquamarine publishing house in Germany. Here's the ISBN, and this one is basically the original guidebook to the deck. Here's how he looked back then. The interesting thing about this artist is he doesn't have anything to do with tarot, and the reason why he did this deck is because other artists, like famous painters, have also created tarot decks, and he wanted to do that as well. And so that's why he did it, but he doesn't actually work with tarot. He doesn't really believe in tarot too much. He finds it interesting, but he himself is a member of Scientology. And there is an interesting documentary that, Scientology did it. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the description. where he actually talks about his artwork, and just hearing him talk about his art also gave me a better understanding and appreciation of this deck, even though he's talking about very different pictures. Like, he doesn't really talk too much about the tarot. Yeah, so in this book we have like really large images of the cards, and yeah, extremely big writing. But I do appreciate these large pictures very much, because it's much easier to read the notes that he actually wrote on the cards, especially in the majors, where he also included, let me find. So here in some of the cards, he actually included parts of the, like, RWS. Wait, let me, where's the camera? There. So he included like original sketches of the cards and everything. And also every single card is signed by him, because they're all individual paintings. And yeah, so this is like, here we have the original moon sketch, and he's got his notes here and everything. And yeah, this is what the minors look like. So there's not that much written, just basically some keywords. But still, just having these here, like this book, I am very glad that I was able to find it. It's not really available that much. So yeah, I was able to get a copy. Now, the one thing that I do want to say about this deck, because whenever I see someone talk about their version of the deck on YouTube, I often hear this, oh, I have an uncensored version. And the reason they say that is because, yeah, there is a lot of nakedness in the deck. Let me just find that one picture, and there's my cat. Okay, so I'm going to show you the difference in the cards here. So there are actually just 3 cards that have been censored, and that's these 3. It's the Hanged Man, the Princess of Cups, and the 3 of Discs. And if we compare that with the other decks, I already have these here. So we've got the Hanged Man, 3 of Discs, Princess of Cups, and it's the same in the Spanish version. Bear with me for a second. 3 of Cups, Hanged Man, Princess of Cups. But this deck, the 2020 copyright, this, after 25 years, I think it was 25 years, he finally got the rights to his paintings back. Until then, they belonged to the publisher. And now that he had the rights to his paintings back, he actually put out an uncensored version of this deck, because back then, for the mass market publication, they couldn't put it out as is. So these 3 cards are the censored ones, because in the deck, let me see, like something like this, that does not count as uncensored. You will find this card in every single deck the way that it is. You will see the nipples, you will see boobs and schlongs and everything in these cards, and they're all the same across all of the decks. And now, of course, I can't find it. Like here, this is not what uncensored looks like. Let me show you. This is why I'm glad that I have this book. So the uncensored versions are this, nudity alert, this, and this. So if we compare that, this is the censored version. This is the newly uncensored version. And I think it's pretty obvious to see here what the difference is. But even that is censored in a way, and I'm going to show you the very original in a moment. The 3 of Discs. Can you see the difference? The uncensored version, this here, that is the new version. This is the old version. He's dressed. And the same, I think, with this one here. It is very obvious. I don't need to point it out. Censored, uncensored. So unless you have a card where she's not wearing any panties, you have a censored version of the deck. So you can see in all these other versions, she's always dressed, except for the new version. And so I'm going to show you the book version of it, and then you can see what it originally looked like. So, nudity alert. This is the original picture of the Hanged Man, and even here you can see this is very, very uncensored. So unless you have a deck, which is probably not available because that was not done for the mass market, that shows this, you will always have a censored version of the deck. And in this book, we can also find the, like here, this is still just uncensored. Here, he's not wearing any pants. And let me find the princess really quick. Where is she? Here. You can see no panties. So this is the original book about these paintings, so to speak. And now you know the difference between the censored and the uncensored version. But even here, yeah, he put a shadow over it so you can't see it anymore. But yeah, that is the actual difference. This is how you can tell if you have either or version. And should you find a version where he is completely naked, then that can only mean that it's a ripoff of the pictures that are in this book. Because that's something, you know, with the fake decks that have been frequented over the years in different countries. Yeah, like I'm not going to say the names of the countries, but yeah, when they do show up, they're usually counterfeit and they just photocopy them. And with the size of the images here, it is very easy to photocopy. But yeah, I know that for making it marketable and in order to sell it, it was one of the things that it was covered up. It was not sold in as-is condition. This did not happen. And also when it comes to the keywords, because that's also something that, you know, people were talking about back then. And I'm just going to have like the English and the German one here. So these are the large ones. So you can see this is the German. Here we have the English. And before this was re-released, people were paying crazy money or even asking ridiculous prices for the English version. But here's the thing, especially when you have the big cards, it doesn't matter what language you choose to have your keywords in, because everything is directly written on the cards in German and English. So in some cases on the majors, there is even French included, but everything is written directly on the cards. You have the English version, you have the German version, you have some extra keywords on it, like in his notes. So even if you completely cut off the border and the keywords, it wouldn't really matter which language this came from, because you can still read it. Like every single card has, here you can see it, Der Kaiser, the Emperor, and even French. That doesn't happen on the minors. The minors are just German and English. So here we have Prinz der Stäbe, Prince of Wands, and like extra keywords and stuff. So even if you cut this off, so I never understood why people would pay like the biggest asking price I've ever heard for the original English version was $2,000. Who would pay that much? You can get this deck for around $50 from the creator himself, and then you have, first of all, definitely an original, and nowadays the uncensored version as well. And yeah, I've even thought about like trimming my German version, because that might make the cards a little bit easier to manage. And I've seen it trimmed, it looks really good, because I still have everything that I need on these cards. Like I do not need the keywords up there. I mean, it makes it easier It's like at first glance I can see it, otherwise I might have to look if I don't know them by heart. But otherwise it doesn't really matter, even if I have it in Czech. Like, there's still, everything is written on the cards. Doesn't matter. Even in the Spanish version, same thing. It's all there. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, here, the Spanish, I actually trimmed them. So, yeah, like, I have no idea why people were asking $2,000 for the English version, the original one from back then. That is just crazy to me. And, yeah, especially now that you can buy the English version directly from his website. This one here. I think the German one might actually come with the larger guidebook. Maybe? I'm not quite sure. But the English one that I had, yeah, it came with this one here. So yeah, so that is definitely one of my absolute favorites, and that's why I wanted to have it in all these different versions, because this is definitely something I am collecting. And the reason why I feel so drawn to this deck is because I really see a lot of like German culture of the 80s and a little like early 90s in this deck. And that's why when I look at these cards, there's always a sense of feeling at home with this. And that's why I will always find my way back to this deck, even if I'm using other decks more for readings, because yeah, the large cards are a bit difficult to handle. But yeah, with this, I just feel at home. There's even one card, I don't know where it is right now, but it has like a bunch of money on it. And there's even German money in it. And it's like, there's just so many things. Or like the Formula One racing car for the Chariot card. I'm not sure if I can find it now. But yeah, I mean, there's just, here. I don't know any other deck that has a Chariot like this. And the Formula One thing, that's like people in Germany, they used to be crazy about this, especially when Michael Schumacher was still around. People would watch that religiously on television. And let me see if I can find that other card. Probably not. It's probably way at the bottom. I don't know, but yeah, it has like a bunch of money on it. And there's German money, like the old money, the Deutschmark, which we don't have anymore, because something that we had was we had 1,000 Deutschmarks as paper money. Here it is. Here, that was a 1,000, and we had the Brothers Grimm as the people on that money. So something like this, yeah, it's like, oh my God, I can find something German, even though there's also a $1 bill on here and another country. But yeah, there's just something about this deck that makes me feel at home. And by the way, these are the backs. Very pretty. Not reversible, but who cares? And yeah, like this deck, it's just, it's one of my favorites. I call this my soul deck because like how much I'm relating it to my home country. And yeah, this is my entire Röhrig collection. And the last deck that I want to show you today is also by a German creator, me. So this is my own deck that I made, and of course I had to include it in my German category. This is the Tough Love Tarot that I created. And this is what it says. This is a deck that I created in order to really get to, you know, the nitty-gritty, because I have a tendency to, you know, avoid things and not really dig deep. And sometimes when things become uncomfortable and I don't really want to talk about it and all that stuff. But this deck right here is actually like inspired by the conversations that me and my bestie had. And the reason it sounds this way is he's been giving me a lot of tough love, and that's why I named it that. And he talks this way to me because he actually cares. Because if he didn't care, he wouldn't even bother. And I don't know if you've picked up on this, but this is also, this deck is a little bit gay. My bestie, like the closest fictional character I found to, let's like him, is David from Schitt's Creek. They are very much alike, and yeah, my friend, he's exactly like that, and so that's why this deck kind of sounds like that. So this is basically my gay bestie in a deck, and yes, I've asked him if it's okay to say that. So all of these wordings here, that's what he would say, and I read those cards to him, and I, said, okay, this is what I wrote for this card, and this is what I wrote for that card, and he's like, yep. That sounds like me. That sounds like me as well. That also very much sounds like me. So basically, I mean, I've been talking with him for a long time, especially after coming out of this, domestic abuse situation. He was the one who talked some sense into me in terms of personal accountability. And to not be stuck in this victim mentality, because yeah, if something terrible happens to you, it is very easy to fall into this, oh, why did it happen to me? Why? What did I do? I've been a good person. How did I deserve something like this? It's very easy to get stuck in that kind of thinking. But he was the one with his tough love who pulled me out of that and who held me accountable and who made me look at my own behavior, not in the sense of telling me like I'm responsible too, but in a way I am, because I also allowed certain things to happen to me and I didn't put an end to it when I had the chance. So that's also part of this deck. And something that I have also noticed is that this deck in essence is very German. And I mean, there are certain stereotypes about certain cultures for a reason. And the ones that you know about Germans are very much true. We are known to be cold, distant, very blunt, very direct. And when we say something like that, we may not even care about people's feelings, but that's just who we are. We don't mean that in ill intent. We just don't have any time for all the fluff and bells and whistles around it. We just get straight to the point. And that's what this deck is. This deck is not like the decks from She Who Shall Not Be Named that are gonna, feel like they're giving you a hug or anything like that. That's not this deck. That's absolutely not. This is why I wrote no fluff, just facts. Like this gets straight to the point. And the deck is supposed to, like the way that I did this was like him calling me out on my stuff. And that's what I did with this deck. Like every card is calling me out on my BS, basically. Everything that I'm trying to avoid, everything that I'm trying to, just ignore. This deck doesn't let me do that. And so this is, like, he was the very big inspiration behind this deck. And yeah, I'm very thankful for the way that he helped me with all of that. And I needed that. I needed this tough love because there's only so much moping around that I could do. I had to snap out of it. And at some point, only the tough words are what's left. You can only give someone so much compassion. At some point, you just have to say what's really on your mind. And that's what this deck is. So, and also by, looking at it when you're in another country, in another culture, and you see this might be kind of offensive or triggering or something, but really look at it through the lens of German culture and not through the lens of another culture, because this was created by a German who lives in Germany, East German more specifically. That's another cultural approach as well, because the East German people, we were influenced by Russian culture, and the West German people were influenced by either British, French, or American culture, depending on where in Germany they lived. So we even have like different cultural experiences, different cultural backgrounds. And those are the kind of things that also should be kept in mind when looking at a deck, things like that. And it doesn't fit into every other culture. That's just not possible. But yeah, this deck is basically very German, and I guess it's the most German deck out of all the ones that I have. And yeah, I mean, still, for me, I mean, I get it, yeah, what other people might say about this deck, but me, it makes me laugh. Like with this, when I draw a card like this, even when I was creating this deck, I was having so much fun. I was laughing, and that was very therapeutic for me. So, my Tough Love Tarot, that was the last one on my list. So these 11 decks are the ones that are in my German collection. I do have other topics that I can break my decks into. Maybe I can do like an astrological one, all my decks by She Who Shall Not Be Named, and all my Lo Scarabeo decks maybe. So we'll see. I have to see how I can group them, because otherwise those videos will be long. I mean, I can see it with this video now. I don't even know where we're at, probably around an hour or so. So if you're still here, thank you very much for watching. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.